Wesak celebrations in London earlier this year were marked by an ambitious production entitled The Voice of the Buddha, produced by Maitreyabandhu, with music composed by Lissimore.
The Voice of the Buddha started with an all-day puja. I've been developing the Wesak celebration here at the LBC for a few years now. I've been basically wanting to make it a much bigger, much better celebration. And one year I decided to do an all-day puja. Clearly the Buddha's enlightenment is the Buddhist story. It's the most important story for Buddhists. And I thought we should tell it. We're practicing Buddhists, we're really doing it, and it's our story as much as it is anybody else's. And I thought it would be very good for us if we told it publicly. So at first all I wanted really was to put on something like a condensed version of the all-day puja that we'd done at the centre. And I asked Tim eventually just to write some music. The idea was it was just going to be mainly spoken, dramatically spoken, but with some musical pieces in it, songs in it. But the idea was that he was going to compose this bit and Vipulikirti would compose that bit and somebody else would write this bit. And then we'd bring it all together as a whole and he'd make sure it all fitted. So he started working on some bits and he asked me to come and listen to them, and I liked them. And then he asked me to come and listen to a few more bits he'd written, and I liked those as well. And then he asked me to come and listen again. And at one point I said, Tim, you seem to be writing the whole thing yourself. And it transpired that he was. But also it wasn't what I'd imagined. It wasn't just going to be a lot of talking with occasional songs. It was becoming a full-scale oratorio.
Trained at the Conservatoire in Paris and read music at Cambridge University, studied at the Royal College of Music, and I'm a professional musician. I earn my living teaching. The most ambitious thing I've written apart from this is really a series of songs set to settings of Yeats' poems, minuscule in comparison with this.
On May the 18th, 650 people attended the Union Chapel in London to see the performance.
I really liked the music and I was excited to see something very big growing. But it did strike me that we were creating a monster.
Then, O monks, while the Bodhisattva was seated at Bodhimandhu, the thought occurred to him.
I knew I was taking a risk from the onset. The trouble is that risk got bigger as I spent more money. Once you start spending money, it's kind of difficult to stop. So we needed to buy in musicians, and then we needed to hire music stands, and then we needed to buy in the material that we were decorating the place and so on, because it got more and more expensive. The danger with this kind of event is that it's well-meaning but poor. Somebody once coined a term, poor art for poor people. And I was really concerned that this piece didn't become poor art for poor people. I wanted it to be a good piece of work, a large-scale piece of work that anybody could enjoy, whether they felt sympathetic with us or not. All the soloists were from the FWO, and one of them, Graham Patterson, was also a singer in the BBC choir. Clearly the choirs weren't professional, they were choirs from all over the movement, and none of us had much time to rehearse. And it really is remarkable that we pulled it off. It's by far, I think, the most ambitious single art work that the movement's produced. What really strikes me about it is just how strongly it created Sangha. And that aspect of it you couldn't perform. I've always been struck by Bhante saying that the most important thing in the spiritual life is to find emotional equivalents to our intellectual understandings. And one of the main ways that religious traditions have done that is by using music and drama and story. But what we need is a Western music, drama and story. And I think the voice of the Buddha really did communicate that profound teaching in a Western way.